Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make some curd cheese pastries, or you could call them cookies or biscuits, but I think they're more like pastries. Now these are based on a Russian recipe, and I wouldn't attempt to pronounce the name of them, and they use a curd cheese, or in Russia that's Tvarog, and there are versions of it all over Eastern Europe, and I actually bought some in my local supermarket, but it was a Polish version. It's the same thing, but it's with a Polish name on it. Now that's the same sort of thing as quark, if you can buy quark, or you could use dry cottage cheese, basically. So this is a cheese which crumbles, so you could even, if you wanted to, use a sort of goat's cheese, a feta type thing, which is very, very crumbly. And it's a very simple recipe to make. It only has flour, baking powder, vanilla extract, butter, and this Tvarog or curd cheese in it. And then as the pastries are rolled out, they're coated in sugar before baking. So for the ingredients, I have 200 grams of my curd cheese here, and as you can see it's quite sort of crumbly, a little bit wet but quite crumbly. And I have 100 grams of butter, which I've almost melted, so it's melted in some places but not in others. Very, very soft butter would work just as well. I have 180 grams of plain flour, and into that I'm going to put 5 grams of baking powder, and then mix that around. And I have 1 teaspoon, 5 milliliters of vanilla extract. So the 100 grams of butter works out at about just slightly over 6 tablespoons of butter. The 180 grams of flour works out at just under 1.5 cups, and I think 200 grams is about 6.5 to 7 ounces of cheese. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put the butter into the curd cheese mixture, and with the hand mixer I'm going to mix that together. That's very, very easy. And then I'm going to add the flour, but I'm going to do that in about 3 additions. Oh, I should also add in the vanilla extract at this time as well. So that's just nice and clumpy now. So I think that's just about the right texture. So what I'm going to do is just put my hand in, and I want to just work that into a nice dough. I'm going to scrape down the bowl, get that extra mixture. And that's all there is to that part of the process, basically. So I'm going to take that dough and I'm going to put it into some cling film and chill it, or plastic wrap. When I say cling film, I mean plastic wrap. And I'm going to chill that for at least an hour. And then I'm going to come back and we will roll this out. And I have here about 100 grams, half a cup of sugar. I actually need less than that, I think, but it's easier to work in that amount and save the rest for later. So I'll have that sugar, we'll roll these out, coat the pastry in sugar and fold them and bake them in the oven. So I'll have my oven preheated at that time to 190 Celsius. That's 170 Celsius with a fan, 375 Fahrenheit. And I'll have a baking tray with parchment paper on it ready to take the pastries. So I'll be back in about an hour when this dough has chilled. The dough has chilled for an hour and I have my oven preheating to 190 Celsius, 170 Celsius with a fan, 375 Fahrenheit. So I'm going to cut my dough into 12 pieces, and I'm actually going to weigh mine to make sure that I get fairly equal measures. It's about 40 grams each piece, and with each piece about 40 grams, I'm going to roll that out, and I want to get to between 6 and 7 inches in a circle. That would be between 15 and 17 centimetres. Now I have my work surface very lightly floured because I want the dough to remain tacky enough for the sugar to stick to it. And that's good enough as a circle, I think. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sugar and I'm going to put the dough down into the sugar and press it like that. And I'm going to pick it up and fold it over on itself like that with the sugar inside, and press it down again and pick it up again and fold it with the sugar inside again, and then I'm going to repeat that one more time. and fold it over. And then for the last one, I'm just going to coat one side with sugar. And then I'm going to place that onto my baking sheet. And I repeat that process with each piece of dough. And you don't need to fold that as many times. If you just fold it so that it forms a triangle, and I'll show you that with this one. And you can roll these out as thick or as thin as you like, basically. And then you achieve the desired thickness of the baked pastry by the number of folds that you do. So with that like that, I'm going to put that into the sugar, and then I'm going to pick it up and fold it like that, put it in again, pick it up and fold it with the sugar inside like that, and then you could leave it at that and then just coat one side with sugar, but I'm going to do my additional fold again as I did before. Okay, so here I have 8 of our pastries, and I have the other 4 on another baking tray, and I'm going to put those into the oven and bake them for 20 minutes until the pastry is cooked through, they've coloured nicely, and the sugar on the top has caramelised a little bit. Then I take them out, let them cool on the tray for a couple of minutes. I then transfer them to a wire rack to cool completely, and I'll come back and show you the results. I baked the Russian curd pastries for 25 minutes. After 20 minutes I didn't think they'd coloured enough and they probably wouldn't be cooked inside, so I baked them for a further 5 minutes. And this is what they look like. And so they're nice and crisp on the outside, and you can see the layers that we folded a few times. So I'll take a taste of one. They've actually got a nice creamy taste to them, and they're soft on the inside, crisp on the outside, not overly sweet, which is good for me. So they worked quite well, actually, I have to say. That's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link to this recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.